I became more aware of the brain, diseases that attack it, what food can hurt it, what fuels it, over a decade ago when my mother was diagnosed with what seemed to be a form of dementia. She was only in her 50s. There are so many questions, fears, and moments you simply cannot prepare for or understand when it comes to dementia. To ease my anxiety, I started researching the brain more, and today I will share with you some of the changes that I made and the supplements I added into my own life in an attempt to actively fuel my brain and avoid a fate such as my mother's, if in fact I do have any sort of control over it. Understanding that I simply may not. I'm a child of God and He's in control, but dementia is often genetic and cases can't be healed, but some studies are showing now that you can slow, avoid, or reverse it. So, for starters, I cleaned up my diet. I have fortunately never been much a fan of soda, beer, or fast foods, but I'm no health wizard. I studied the Mind diet, which is very similar to a Mediterranean style of eating, and I try to use this knowledge as my guide as much as possible. I print out the Mind diet menu on my fridge to remind me as I reach for something that I shouldn't to put it back down. It doesn't always work, but sometimes it does. And I also just happen to love water. So I have a huge water bottle and I tend to drink quite a lot of water each day. I also try to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I love to sleep. And I set an alarm a few times a day on my phone to remind me to get exercise of some sort. My 30-minute moments change daily, so it's all about convenience for me. And if I can't get away from an office or the house to go to a gym, I simply take a walk around the building or a neighborhood. And I bought an ancient elliptical off Facebook Marketplace to have around on cold and rainy days. So I feel like I've tried every fitness class out there and even taught a few over the years. So I've chosen my favorites and I enjoy attending them when I can, so you're gonna have to find what works for you. And if all else fails, I just turn on some music when no one else is around and I hold a dance party in my living room, which feels ridiculous at first, but ends up being really fun. Plus, all of this also helps with mood. Also, try to stimulate your brain with a suggested activity some each day. You can Google some suggestions to find out what's the most fitting and fun for you, and there's also apps for it. I'll give you an example of my daily routine. I wake up and I take Mito Q before any meals or coffee while I feed my dog children and watch the news. I have what I've named my goodness jar for breakfast every day except Sunday. On Sunday, I like to have a larger brunch somewhere, or maybe I make it, but the jar can be prepped or made fresh. It is basically a low or no sugar yogurt with bananas, steel-cut oats, or I've used Love Crunch, chia seeds, almond butter, and berries. This is a great place to add supplement powders. Like supplement powders I have are Maca Root powder or collagen peptides powder. I brew a coffee or tea and I add a spoonful of MCT oil. Sometimes I just take it straight. The oil tastes like coconut, so that's not too hard to handle. And at least a few times a week, I take a shot of apple cider vinegar from the mother with a splash of lemon water and turmeric like it's whiskey. Some people take a supplement instead. Once a week with lunch, I take a probiotic. My yogurt already has probiotic in it, so I rarely take mine more than once a week, but a lot of people do. A favorite snack, if I'm craving something, is dark chocolate, omega nuts, dark chocolate chips, and I've finally gotten on the hummus bandwagon and I can dip veggies, whole grain Triscuits or something like that in the hummus for a snack. I also enjoy a body armor drink from time to time in the afternoon, if you've heard of those, which is a great place to add a supplement powder like the Maca Root or collagen peptides powder that I had mentioned earlier. So maybe I'll add Maca Root to my goodness jar and then the collagen peptides powder to my body armor drink later in the day. Find some time for exercise and or a mind activity between 1 p.m. and bedtime as much as possible, as many days a week as possible. And then at night, I take a daily multivitamin and keep an extra vitamin D oil at my bedside. I also like CBD oil, and I take that usually at bedtime too because it's calming. I don't take any medications necessarily, it's just supplements. Although meds come up from time to time, I'm not a medical professional. You're welcome to talk to your doctor about any of these suggestions or visit an alternative medicine professional. There are a lot of holistic style suggestions for dang near every issue you may be experiencing. I love the amino acids But I will say that I'm very happy with my health overall, my mood, my energy, my sleep, and you know, it's all on my routine with no added medications from a doctor. If I could go back in time, I would have studied neurology or forensics, because I cannot stop watching Forensic Files and Snap, right? But I'm doing my best to take care of my brain, and I can only hope to help others with my personal advice from my research and my mind finds.